Hi guys, good morning. Welcome back to the next video. I hope that you guys are doing well. Let's look on to the next problem, which is longest zigzag path in a binary tree. It's a pretty easy to medium problem, but it is very helpful in many other hard problems. So basically it can be acted as a sub problem of a hard problem. So please understand it very carefully. Let's first look at the problem statement itself. We are having a root of a binary tree as usual if a tree is given. So a root of that tree is given. A zigzag path is defined as follows, that we need to choose any node of a binary tree and a direction which is left or right, which means I choose the road. I choose, okay, I have to go left or I have to go right. If the current direction is right, move to the right directions of the current node, which means if I choose the direction as right, so I moved right to that current node. Otherwise, I'll just move left to that current node. Change the direction from the right to left or from left to right, which means zigzag, right? So if we have moved left, so now I will move right. If we have moved right, so now I will move left. It is zigzag. Cool. Repeat the second and the third steps until we move to the, we can't move in the tree, which means until there is no zigzag path left. Cool. Zigzag length is defined as the number of nodes visited minus 1, which means if I have zigzag path like this, so the zigzag length is nothing but 2, while you can see the number of nodes in this are 3. So it's just number of nodes minus 1, which means the length of this path. Here is the longest zigzag path contained in that tree, which means if that tree whatsoever zigzag paths are possible, we need to return the longest path. Let's see with this example. I have just modified this example a little bit. I just added one more node to actually show you, okay, what all zigzag path can be possible. So if you just look at this particular tree, very intuitive brute force approach which comes in our mind is, okay, let's have all these zigzag paths in a tree and just grab the maximum length out of all those zigzag paths. So one is that, okay, I just have one path because it's the only one. Next is that, okay, I have this path which is the only one right here, as you can see. Oh, I'm not drawn it, but yeah, it's actually one path which is right here. Next path which can be a zigzag path is from here to here, as you can see, zigzag, which is the path right here, length is 2. Next path, it can be from here. Okay, it can't go because it's actually a straight path, so it's not a zigzag path. So from here, only one path right here and one path right here. That's it. One also here, but like the bigger one is right here. Cool. Next zigzag path which can be, okay, one path right here, other part it can be from here to here to here up till here. You can see zigzag, zig, right? So the length is 3. You can see the length is 3. Another path right here, another zigzag path can be from here to here or from here to here. Length is both ways 1. So you can see I just did one thing. Okay, I just went on to every node and tried to go to every zigzag path, which means I started, let's say, from here. I tried to go left, I can go, okay, I just go, and left, I'll just try to work like what's the zigzag path length. One option is I just go right, then I have to go to left. Okay, left is possible. Then I have to go to right. Okay, right is possible. I have to go to left. Okay, no left is there, so it is the maximum zigzag path. So I can just go on to every node, print the possible zigzag pattern or the path or the length. I can get the maximum out of all that. But you can easily see that the constraints are up till 5 into 1e4. So O of n square, which means grabbing all the nodes and doing zigzag path, which means O of n, which means a DFS from that node. It is not possible. So it will give a TLE. So what I have to do, I have to optimize it to O of n or O of log n, because O of n square would not work in this condition, which means if I had to do O of n, let's think of that, which means I can traverse my tree only once, and while traversing my tree only once, I have to figure out, okay, what is the maximum length of zigzag path. So can we think of something, which means whenever we need to find out, okay, we have to complete this whole tree iteration in one step, which means if I am going down, I have to go down only. I can't come back and go on another node and again go down. So at any point of time, what I can think of is, okay, if I have the traversal right here, which means I'm traversing from the top, and I have the information up till right here. So what information I need at the next step? Because see, ultimately in a tree we have a traversal, right? So I am just traversing down. So let's imagine, okay, we are traversing down at a point of time. What information I can need so that I can only traverse once and it will work, which means the zigzag path, if I have done completely up till here and now I am coming down to 6, so I just want, okay, what is the zigzag length right now at 6, which means at 6 I need to know the zigzag length. If anyhow I can know, I'll just give you, okay, the zigzag length up till 5 is, let's say, x. So you will say zigzag length of 6, when 6 is added or included, it will be x plus 1. But you can see that 5's left is 6. But for the zigzag, we also remember one thing, that okay, if it is right, then for the zigzag, next one should be a left. We know, okay, it is a left, and I'm saying, okay, it is x, it should be x plus 1. But only when it is upcoming from a right. So if it is upcoming from a right, I can easily say, okay, if its child left is there, then it will be x plus 1, which means the zigzag length which it had plus 1. I assumed initially one thing, okay, anyhow I'll just know some information. Then I just went on to the child and thought, okay, if I know some information of my parent, then what information I can actually have to my child. Then I remembered, okay, I should have the information of zigzag length of my parent so that I can grab the zigzag length of me as a child. But then I also remembered that I can only add when my parent itself is coming from right, and if I am its left child, only then I can add. Else if I am the right child and my parent incoming was also right, then I can only add a 1, because now if it is a right but it's not a zigzag path, so the new zigzag path will be only this one. You saw how from this one assumption, okay, let's assume we have some information of the parent, we find out, okay, what information we need for the parent, because what information is required for the child, and then we try to improvise that condition of parent, which means, okay, if earlier I thought I just only want the zigzag length of my parent, then I thought, okay, no, the direction also, that from which direction my parent reached that zigzag is also needed for me to actually analyze my child. That is how we actually build on, okay, what conditions are required, what variables I will add in my condition. Which means ultimately what will happen is that, okay, if my parent is incoming from a right, so I will have a direction as right, length so far of the zigzag length, let's say it is x. As soon as I go on to the left child, I know my direction of my parent was right, so if I'm going on to the left, it is forming a better, longer zigzag path. So I will just have the new direction, which is left, and also the zigzag length is increased by 1, which means x plus 1. While if I go on to the right child and I know my parent also was also from right, then its direction will stay, like, remain of the child, which means it's right, but the zigzag length will come to value 1. If the case would have been, okay, 5, the parent would have came from left, then if I go on to left, still it's just 1, because it's not a zigzag right now. But if I had gone to right, then my zigzag path plus 1 would have increased, and the new direction is right for sure. It is how we reach to condition, okay, how we actually have to put, okay, we need direction and also the zigzag length, and that is all. At every point of time, I am just grabbing that maximum of the zigzag length by a global variable called as max length, and we would be good to go. And as we know that, okay, we have this direction variable, we can either name it as a string as left or right, or we can just have two variables. For left we can have it as 0, for right we can have it as 1. You can do any ways, it's just that you have to manage these two variables, left or right. You can have 0 1 1 2, left right, LR, anything you want. Let's see the code pretty quickly. It's pretty easy. Firstly, I just have my function, main function, where I will call, as I said, if I start from a node, then as for one node, I will just check, okay, what my parent incoming was, right? Was it from the left or was it from the right? I checked, right? What was my parent incoming? Was it from the left or was it from the right? But for the root node, there is no incoming, right? Neither left nor right. Or I can say it has both incomings, left and a right, because anything is good for my root node. That's the reason when I started from my root node, I just grabbed, okay, direction of this its parent, which means root's parent is nothing. But still, I just assume, okay, I have both. Like I have both for my root, which means both are good. Left and right for root, both are good. So I just take, okay, left and right from my root, because I started left and right from my root, and then I have, okay, so far the zigzag length is 0. Then I just have this my solve function, which is actually a standard depth for search in a tree, where firstly a base condition that if root is null, for sure return you have reached a node which is null. Else I'll just update the max length, which is a global variable marked here, because max length ultimately I have to return my final answer. Now comes the interesting part, which means it will just go and see, okay, if I'm going on my left child, then my parent direction, if that direction is 1, I am going to my left child. If my parent direction is 1, which means my parent would have come from the right. I am going on to left. Zigzag path is being formed, so it is just current length plus 1. Else, if it is not the case, which means if the parent direction is 0, so it would have just gone to the condition 1, right? As I showed you right here, exactly right here. Now the next condition was, if I am going to my right, and my parent, it was from left, right? Left, my parent direction was 0, which means, and I'm going on to the right, so the current length will increase by 1, which means the zigzag length will increase by 1. Else it will just be 1, because left, it can be just 1 length of zigzag. And by this I can just go and call my recursive function down to every of those child, and ultimately find my maximum length, which I'm increasing right here, maximum length. And that is all which we have to do, because we are just calling this. It's just that we just need to find out this recursive condition, and we were good to go. Let's see the completion pretty quickly. It's O of n, because we are actually moving on to the every nodes of this tree by a simple DFS. It just goes on to every node, because it just goes down to every node. Space is O of height, because it's depth first search, which actually goes to one depth of that tree. So the recursive stack will have the at max the space of this whole depth, which is the maximum whole depth of this tree. And that is the space complexity. C++, Java and Python code are down below for your reference, and I hope that you guys got it, how you build that recursive condition, because it is the only main condition which we have to need for this problem, and how we actually build recursive condition for any of the problem, how we reach, okay, what all variables are required, what is the condition which is required. So I hope that you guys liked it. If yes, then do the like button. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. See you next time. Goodbye, take care.